So we posted on our social network anyone who wanted to ask me any questions related to wildlife or my job or anything like that, and a few of you did respond, and thank you for that. So I'm going to go through some of the questions now. One of the questions that we started off with was during our virtual safaris there was a very particular bird sound and call that was in the background, and the most obvious one that's on the virtual safaris that stands out the most when I look back at them is a Madikwe sunbird. And this is a Madikwe sunbird here. There's this beautiful colored bird here. They are fairly common, so they are seen throughout the year. They don't migrate. They feed mainly on nectar and small invertebrates, and that's that call that you hear. So I'll post a picture of it as well as put the call up on as an answer for you so that you can actually relate to the two. So the other question that came through was, what was it like guiding guests for the first time? I must say it was very exciting. I was quite nervous, but I was also excited at the very same time. And the family that I actually guided for the first time here in Madikwe Safari Lodge was a family from Singapore. And we had a really wonderful time. They stayed for 3 nights and we saw quite a lot of things. I think most memorable sightings were that of lions. We had a nice pride of lions, and we also managed to catch up with a coalition of male cheetahs, which was also quite a nice prize. So yeah, thanks for that question. So we have another question, and that question was, is there an animal that I haven't seen yet that I would really love to see? Yes, I have not seen a serval. It's almost, if you think of a cheetah but you miniaturize it. It's a small cat. It's quite cool. They're quite agile. They have great abilities at hunting, especially birds in long grass, able to jump up quite high and catch them in mid-air. So again, I'll post a picture of a serval so that you get to see and you can have a reference of exactly what I'm talking about. Thanks for the question. So another question was there a time where I've ever been frightened by an animal? What happened and what were the circumstances? Yes, most of it happens mainly when you're on foot and you're walking. I wouldn't say I was completely frightened, but it is quite a hair-raising moment, especially when you encounter a large animal like an elephant, and then one in particular was black rhino, which was quite exciting. It was a very nice relaxed encounter. However, it was quite close, but we managed to enjoy the whole sighting and the encounter, and we managed to get out safely. So it's one of the areas where I would say were borderline hair-raising moments for me. And we move on to another question that was left to me to answer, and that is, why do male and female hyenas have a penis? Well, what we will describe is actually females don't have the same anatomy as a male. Female hyenas are born with a lot more testosterone because of an evolutionary trait that's come through where they have become more matriarchal. So that is actually what is known as a peniform clitoris. It's not actually the penis. What it is, or known as also a pseudopenis, is actually an extension of the clitoris and vagina itself, and that becomes actually the birth canal. So you can imagine how difficult and complex mating as well as birthing is for spotted hyenas. Very great question. A lot of people think that they do and they're hermaphrodites, but it's not the case. That is a myth. They have completely separate anatomy and reproductive systems. So on to our last question, and that question is, what got me into the whole bush experience? Basically, when I was growing up as a kid, being in a South African and living out here, you are able to visit game reserves, nature reserves and national parks at your leisure, and that's kind of where I got the real passion and enjoyment from, is going away with family out to the bush and getting to learn a little bit about the bush in my younger ages. And then growing up, it's always been there. It's always been a part of who I am and what I really enjoy and how I want to express my knowledge and and passion with all of you who've been following us for the past few months during this lockdown.